You are listening to the SDSU podcast, presented by the East Village Times, with your host, Andre Hagverdian. Welcome, listeners, back to another episode of the SDSU podcast. I'm your host, Andre Hagverdian. We'll be joined shortly by Chris Spiering, who is one of our EVT content creators, writers. He's our lead basketball writer. One of our latest episodes, we brought you an interview with Sean Newman Jr., a newcomer for San Diego State basketball. We're continuing our basketball interview series in this episode by talking to another incoming transfer, this time Jeremiah Oden. Jeremiah played at Wyoming for 3 years, so there is a lot of familiarity with the Mountain West, with San Diego State. He spent a year at DePaul and a year at Charlotte, although he was injured all of last season at Charlotte and didn't play. And he's finishing out his collegiate career at San Diego State, back in the conference where he started. Jeremiah, as you'll see, is really eager to play back in the Mountain West, play for San Diego State, improve his individual game, plus also make a run in the tournament, which he has not done. He played in the NCAA First Four game when he was in Wyoming, but they lost to Indiana and did not advance into the quote unquote round of 64. But he's eager to come back, make it back to the tournament here now with San Diego State. So check out our interview with Jeremiah. Chris and I will be back afterwards to give you our final thoughts on the interview. And let's get to it. We want to welcome Jeremiah Oden to the SDSU podcast. How are you doing today?
I'm good. How you guys doing?
We're doing great. Thank you for asking.
We appreciate you being here, Jeremiah.
Thank you guys for having me.
Yeah, you've been at San Diego State now since the summer. How's your short but brief time been here on the Mesa?
It's been great. It's been a refreshing experience just being around a bunch of guys that really want to get better, really want to win. Everybody's really talented. The coaches have been great, and I think that we're in a good spot for where we are in the year.
Yeah, you played 3 years at Wyoming, so you have some familiarity at the Mountain West.
Mhm.
You went to DePaul and Charlotte. Now you're at San Diego State to close out your career. Why San Diego State for your final year of collegiate career?
I really wanted to win and go to a place where I know that the expectation is going to be to win and the work's going to be put in every day to accomplish that. Um, I wanted to give myself a chance to play in the tournament again and not just make it, but make a run in the tournament. And I really wanted to go somewhere that was going to push me to lift up the points of my game where I need improvement. And I felt like San Diego State checked all those boxes.
All right. Yeah. So this actually isn't the first time that you've had a chance to come to San Diego State. Brian Dutcher said when you first entered the portal after Wyoming, they would try to recruit you here. But, going back to Chicago and DePaul was a tough decision for you to pass up. What was it like to talk to the staff 2 years ago and then finally commit to them now?
Yeah, I mean, it made it an easy decision just because, you know, having already been recruited by them in the past, there's a familiarity. I played against them a bunch. When I didn't make that decision, I've had a couple of years to sit with that decision to not come here. So it was an easy decision this time around.
And did you envision yourself playing under Brian Dutcher, even though when you weren't at Wyoming, or when you were leaving Wyoming? Apologies.
Once I didn't go out of Wyoming, I never thought that it would happen, but the stars just aligned this time around and it worked out.
Your dad played at DePaul. What kind of player was he when he was there?
He's good. He played professionally for 10 years, played in France, Germany, countries like that. So he's really good. Yeah.
Was that before you were born, or were you already born, and did you travel with him?
I never traveled with him, but he was my early years when I was like
Yeah.
1 through 3 was like the last 3 years or so of his career. So I didn't really catch much of his playing.
Okay.
Do you guys, when you play one-on-one, who would get the better of who?
He won't play me one-on-one no more. But I mean, last time we played one-on-one, I was probably like 10 or 11.
Yeah.
But since I've gotten to the point where I can actually beat him, he don't play me anymore.
Smart dad, smart dad. You've had to overcome a lot in your career. Last year you were injured, missed your kind of season at Charlotte. What kind of kept you on the right path that led you here to San Diego State?
I would say a lot of things. I would say first and foremost, just my faith. I'm Christian. Just my faith in God really got me
Mhm.
through that tough time last year. Just being out off of a year at DePaul where things didn't go my way. So that was kind of like 2 tough years in a row. And we had a year at Wyoming of losing. So that was like a tough 3 year stretch for me. So I would say that, and just having the right people in my life. Just my parents, good friends, my fiance. I feel like all those people really kept me grounded and just helped me get through those times.
San Diego State, as you know, playing against them, they're a defense first team. We've always heard the mantra, if you don't play defense here, you don't play. Where is that aspect of your game and how has that evolved in the short time you've already been here?
I feel like it's gotten a lot better. I feel like they're really pushing me to just be like a defensive playmaker, make plays out of my area. And I feel like that's something that I really want to be able to hang my hat on by the time I'm leaving here, to help us win, to help me going forward in my career. So I feel like it's coming along, and I mean, it's something that they emphasize every day, and it's something that I'm willing to work on every day. So I feel like it's only a matter of time before the results show once we start playing games.
Is there a favorite part about the game, about your game specifically?
My favorite part of my game?
Yes.
I think that my favorite part of my game is just my adaptability. I feel like you could put me in almost any role on a court, and I feel like I could figure it out. I would say that'd be my favorite
Yeah.
part.
Okay, yeah, and you mentioned it a little bit earlier, right? You felt like San Diego State would the reason why you came to San Diego State is because they're going to help you feel like they can help you improve in some of the spots that you feel like you needed to improve on. Is there one already that you're kind of thinking of that you're urgently trying to improve as the season gets ready to start here in about less than a month?
Yeah, I would say defensively, just being able to make more plays defensively, contain the ball better, and then being a better rebounder. Those would be the 2 areas that I always been able to hang in those areas, but I don't like I want to be elite in those areas. So I feel like that's what we're pushing for in practices.
In previous years, talking to some newcomers, they've talked about, or even the coaching staff about newcomers, about how they liken a newcomer's game to a previous Aztec. Is there someone in mind that the coaching staff has kind of compared you to, or maybe showed film of where yeah, kind of your role fits?
No, they didn't really do that with me.
Okay.
They're kind of just focusing on my film and just watching it, showing me the areas that I can improve. But I can't say that they've compared me to a former player.
Yeah, Chris and I kind of before you jumped on, we're talking about a guy named Jay Powell who
Mhm.
played a couple years ago, and maybe how your styles are similar. Um, but yeah, I'm just curious if the coaching staff had done that. Where do you see yourself kind of positionally? I know San Diego State will say they're positionless because everyone on the floor kind of has to do a lot of different things. But
Mhm.
are you a combo forward, can play either the three or the four comfortably?
Yeah, I'm definitely a combo forward. Comfortable at the 3 or the 4. I don't know how much 3 I'll be asked to play this year. We have a lot of guards,
Yeah.
so
Right.
it'll probably be mostly 4. But just in general, I would say I'm a combo forward.
Um, the team is very deep, as you said, not just at guard, but at forward, at center. Um, is this the deepest team you've been a part of, obviously? And how do you think that depth is going to help kind of with the high expectations you guys have?
I would definitely say it's probably is the deepest team I've been a part of. My junior year at Wyoming, we had a really deep team, and we ended up that was the year that we struggled. But talent wise, we were really deep. So I would say that was probably second deepest. But this is probably the deepest team I've been on.
Hmm.
Um, what was the second part of your question?
Um, just the three or the four.
Okay, yeah, I think that
No, I actually, sorry, it was more about just helping you guys with your meeting expectations because they are pretty high this year.
no, I think that our depth definitely does help with that because I mean, practice is a war every day. Like since we are so deep, there is like it's not like you're matching up with a dude that isn't
Yeah,
like that good. You know, you're matching up with somebody that could start on a lot of Mountain West teams. Like I feel like everyone on our team could. So
yeah.
it's a Mountain West game or higher every day in practice. So I feel like that's helping us because we're getting real looks in practice every day, and I think that that'll only help us. It'll help us be ready early, hopefully.
Have you just talking about those playoff or practice matchups? Is there a teammate or two that you've bonded with closer in your short time here?
A lot of the guys, I think that we're all pretty close. Me and Sean get along well. Miles Bird, we get along well. He's been a great leader, kind of helping me make that transition. I just feel like everybody, Taj has been great. So yeah, Reese, all those guys.
Just going back to Miles real quickly, you mentioned him being a leader. This is not a new role for him. He was a bit of a leader last year as well.
Mhm.
Where has his leadership grown? I know you haven't been there long. Where has his leadership grown? As the season is really close to starting here.
Yeah, he's just very vocal, and I think that the best way that he leads is just by example. Like, I'm really big on everybody having energy every day, and I try and lead in that aspect. But it helps to have a dude that's been here 4 years who's also like taking that role, and he's very vocal. He's very positive. I've never seen him in a bad mood, and I'm sure like anybody, we all go through things, but whatever, like he doesn't show it any day he walks into practice. He always has a smile on his face. He's always getting everybody going. So I would just say that's how he's leading.
So you actually mentioned it a little bit earlier too. So your sophomore year, you played in the NCAA First Four at Wyoming. Obviously losing the NCAA tournament is not fun. The Aztecs lost to North Carolina pretty bad in the First Four last year. What would it mean for you specifically to get back to that tournament and get a little bit farther this time around?
It would mean the world. I think that we can do it, and it's just one of those things. I feel like if your expectation is just to make it, like you're already going in kind of like timid in that first round, like, and I don't think that's anybody's mentality. Like we're trying to go and we're trying to just take it one game at a time, knowing that we can beat anybody. And I think that obviously that's far down the road. We got to worry about practice tomorrow, but
Mhm.
I think that it would mean a lot for me to be able to make a run. And if we are fortunate enough to do that, I'm gonna be fully present and just enjoy those times.
You
Nice.
mentioned you mentioned improving on rebounding. If there was one area Coach Dutcher talked a lot about last year where they needed to improve was rebounding.
Mhm.
There were several games, close games they lost because of some offensive rebounds they gave up. Um, how do you guys kind of go about trying, as not just individually, but as a team, improving rebounding? Like, what are the focuses on that in practice to make sure that it doesn't become an issue during the game?
Yeah, I think that. I mean, we have good rebounders, so that helps.
Hmm.
We do a lot of rebounding drills, and I think most importantly, it's just like you are what you emphasize, and the coaches like that's you're gonna hear that if you watch practice, you'll hear that 20, 30 times. Rebound, rebound,
Hmm.
rebound. Like it is what it is. So, and I'm sure that once we start playing, like I'm sure you won't play if you're not rebounding. So, it's just one of those things. Like it's emphasized, and there's a standard that's been put in place. So I feel like they're doing a really good job at that.
You might hear throughout the season the expectations about this team. It's going to get a little old for some of the players.
Mhm.
Um, how do you not let those distractions get in the way? And like you said earlier, just focusing on tomorrow, focusing on the next practice. That is not easy to do. How what helps you specifically get those distractions out of your head?
I think for me, I just have experience. I've seen it. Like my junior year,
Hmm.
I think we were picked to win the league. We were second if we weren't first. We had preseason player of the year, and then he goes down and we ended up finishing last place. So expectations mean absolutely nothing to me. And
Okay.
I stress that to the guys. Like you could be projected to win the league. I think my sophomore year, Nevada was projected to win the league, and they ended up struggling that year. It's like this stuff that never really matters. Like you could be supposed to be good on paper and end up underperforming. So I feel like for me, it's more so just knowing that we have the talent. We have the talent to do anything we want to do, and I think that it's just about staying level-headed enough and having enough dudes that have been around for long enough to not let it like get to their heads. Like, um, And we have that. Like I've been here, Miles has been around the block, BJ, like so we have enough dudes to know that like it's cool. You want those expectations, and it's a privilege to have that. But also just knowing that you still have to go out and play the games. You know, expectations don't
Mhm.
hang banners.
Was that Ike that was injured that you're
Yeah,
talking about? Yeah,
yeah.
that was a tough injury. Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, um, you had those if battles versus San Diego State. You played at VAS Arena. What do you recall memories maybe from some of those matchups that stays with you?
Yeah, I mean, even just today and walking into practice at Viejas, they had the lights a little bit more lit up than they normally do for practice. It
Mhm.
was kind of like the game day lights. And it just brought back those memories. Like, even my freshman year playing here, we had a double homestand here because of the way that things were for COVID.
Yeah.
Playing here my junior year, it was senior night. So it's cool, you know. It's kind of a little weird being on the other side of it still, but it's
Mhm.
cool, and I just don't take it for granted. You know, I look back at those memories, but I'm more excited about just being able to have a full season and just playing on this side of things and just taking it all in.
Did you have any matchups against AG? And if so, what is it like now to be coached by him as he's kind of transitioned into that role?
Yeah, I played against AG 2 years or three, I think. Yeah, I played against him my
Yeah.
whole 3 years.
Yes.
Um, And the other day he was on scout team and we were guarding each other. I looked at him, I was like, just like all the time. He was like,
Uh,
yeah. So we kind of laugh about it, but it's cool. And it's cool to like, I mean, he knows my game. We played against each other, and he's basically like, he's just removed from being a player. So he sees things from our
yeah.
perspective still, and he's able to be in the coach's office and kind of know what they want. So he's really good at kind of being that communicator between the coaches and the players. So it's cool having somebody like that that I played against and who's just so soon removed from playing.
Yeah.
What coach on the staff do you kind of communicate the most with? Right, there's a former head coach or a former assistant coach is now the head coach at Long Beach State that you'll see first at Chris Acker.
Hmm.
The team brought in Ryan Batterdale last year. He had a lot of experience at UC Irvine. Is there anyone on the staff that you kind of lean towards for some advice?
I would say really all of them. They all like. I would say when in recruiting, Luster probably
Mm.
both times did most of the recruiting for me. But since I've gotten here, they all just kind of like pour into me. Coach Ryan talks to me every day. Luster does. Coach Dave, we watch film with each other all the time. So like, I couldn't even say that there's a specific coach. I think that they all do a good job at trying to pour into me.
I have a question kind of dating back to your time in Chicago. Are you a Cubs fan by any chance?
I am.
You are. Okay. So now that you're in San Diego, I wanted to ask you about your thoughts on the Cubs and the Padres playing in the playoffs this season.
It's crazy they got that matchup because the Padres, you know, I've been to like three Padres games since I've been here. I could say,
That was going to be another my
yeah,
question.
I
Have
could
you?
say they're probably my second favorite team. So if,
Okay.
if they'd have got any other matchup other than the Cubs, I'd be rooting for the Padres. But I gotta
Okay.
go.
Yeah, because I was going to say, I know Miles. I think Miles has been to a game or two. I'm not sure if you went with Miles, but even the Padres came to a game last year at San Diego State. So
Mhm.
there might be a moment where you're playing and half the Padres team is there watching. So
Yeah.
yeah, I just wanted to get your thoughts on that because I'm not sure if any of the players are actual Padres fans, but
Mhm.
the city is very, very strong when it comes to local talent, right? So
Yeah.
a lot of we don't have many sports here, but the Padres are a big one, and so seeing San Diego State and the Padres collide is really fun to see. So
Yeah.
I'm just curious about that. So thanks for your answer on that.
Yep.
Um,
I am speaking to the Chicago. Like, how did you go from high school in Chicago to Wyoming? Like, what was that recruiting out of high school like for you, and why was Wyoming the place you ended up?
Yeah. Actually, I took a post grad year after high school. Went to Sunrise for a year,
Hmm.
um, and then I waited till the late period to sign. And they were just kind of in the mix at the right time. They weren't recruiting me very long. They probably didn't start
Hmm.
recruiting until a few weeks before I committed, but it was kind of just right timing, honestly. And Coach Linder recruited me really hard personally, and that's not something you see a lot where head coaches go after you really hard. So that's what kind
Hmm.
of made them stand out for me.
How was the was it a culture shock to go from Chicago area to Laramie, Wyoming?
Um,
cold to the cold. I mean,
Yeah, not temperature wise. I was used to that, but
Yeah.
it's definitely different in Laramie. But
Yeah.
I think my year at Sunrise helped me because that's kind of similar to
Yeah.
being in Laramie. There's a little bit more, but not really. So I would say that kind of helped me too.
Yeah, I went to Laramie last year to cover the San Diego State Wyoming game. I was only there for a weekend, but I definitely enjoyed my time there. A lot of good people,
Yeah,
good Wyoming hardcore fans that were very respectful to all the San Diego State fans that were there. So yeah, that was pretty cool.
Do
yeah.
they
It's
still,
a normal college town.
Yeah,
is there a
yeah.
Josh Allen statue anywhere there now, or what? They gonna? I bet he was probably talked about a lot while you were there, huh, Jeremiah? Josh
Who's statue? Oh, Josh Allen.
Allen, yeah.
There's to my knowledge, I don't think there's a Josh Allen statue, but if you go to a football game, you'll see 100 Josh Allen jerseys. So,
Yeah,
uh,
Yeah, we did see that for sure.
he
yeah.
gave
Um,
up some fits for sure.
Last set of questions. Anything basketball, Chris, before we move on to the rapid fire?
Um, no, I think we kind of covered most of it,
Yeah.
So
So last set of questions are more quick fire stuff to get to know you. So start it off. What's your favorite food?
Any seafood or Mexican.
Okay, well you're in the right place for Mexican. Good seafood places here too, but obviously San Diego is known for the Mexican. Have you found a favorite taco shop yet?
I tried a lot. I don't think I have a favorite yet, but I'm still working on that.
are
What
you in?
about favorite? Go
That's
ahead.
right. I was just going to ask. We asked Sean this question. Are you an In-N-Out guy at all?
It's growing on me.
It
I
is. Yeah,
I hated it at first, but the more I eat it, it's weird. I keep saying I don't like it, but I always end up back there. So I think I do like it.
it's hard to pass up.
What about a deep dish pizza? What's your take on that?
I love it. I think that a lot of people from Chicago don't really like it that much. It's more of a
Yeah.
tourist thing, but I personally really like it.
Wait, so is deep dish not originally from Chicago? I thought that was a Chicago thing.
It is, but it's just like a lot
Just
of
the
people from
tourists get it.
Chicago like really like think it's overrated. It's more of something that people like coming to visit the city like are really big on, but I'm a big deep dish guy.
Okay. Okay.
Favorite movie?
Uh I like The Wolf of Wall Street.
Oh, nice. That's a good one. What about favorite TV show?
Favorite TV shows all the time, probably Power,
Yeah,
or probably like The Walking Dead. Those are probably my top two.
that's good choices. Favorite musical artist?
Kendrick Lamar.
Okay. Can't go wrong with Kendrick.
His halftime show with the Super Bowl was pretty electric, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. I saw him at did you go to the tour that he was on recently? They didn't come to San Diego, but I went to the one in Vegas.
Yeah, I wasn't able to make it.
Yeah. It was really good, yeah.
Yeah, I wish I could have.
What about favorite professional athlete?
Hmm.
Past or present?
I'd say probably Kevin Durant. He was always my favorite player growing up.
I
And
thought
then
you were Derrick Rose or something like that.
Yeah, nah. From Chicago, it would be Derrick Rose, but overall, it's Kevin Durant.
well, we talked about the Cubs. Are the Bulls your favorite NBA team? Or
No, actually, there's the Bucks, which is kind of like a rival for Chicago.
Mhm.
That's kind of funny, but
How did that happen?
I just I really became a really big Giannis fan.
Yeah.
You know, KD was always my favorite player growing up, but I really like Giannis, just his approach on and off the court. Really humble dude, and when they win that championship, I was just really supporting them really hard. So I've been rocking with them ever since. I think they have another one in them if they can get the right pieces together.
You hear a lot of athletes, right? They talk about when they're evolutionizing their game, they watch film on specific players. Was Giannis someone that you watched his film specifically to try and imitate or take some things from his game to add to yours, or
Nah,
is there
just
anybody
he's,
is there
he's
anybody that
just
you try to model it off of, or
yeah. Giannis and KD, like those dudes are freaks. Those aren't the dudes. I watch them for entertainment, but
yeah,
those
it's
dudes
hard.
I came after. I watch a lot of Trey Murphy.
Yeah.
I
Okay, that's
watch
a
him
good
a
one.
lot. I watch a lot of Jaden McDaniels on the Timberwolves. So in terms of like dudes who I'm trying to like take something from, I watch those two dudes probably the most.
Okay, you might meet Jane Daniels' brother. I don't know if he ever comes down to San
Yeah,
Diego State.
I know he played here. His brother did.
Yeah, I'm not sure if he comes down and visits, but they have. There's going to be games throughout the year where they'll have some former alumni playing, a
Hmm.
couple of
I
games.
don't
So
remember seeing Jalen because he's always playing. He's been in the NBA since he left.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
I don't know if he re-signed with somebody, so it's just during the season it's hard for him to make it down. But
yeah.
um, yeah, for sure.
Then last question I have, it would just be for you, would be just your thoughts on Kawhi Leonard. His obviously he's a former Aztec, one of the best, I don't know if you could put him one of the best all-time NBA players, but definitely one of the best defensive players of all time. What are
Hmm.
your thoughts on Kawhi Leonard and and how he was at San Diego State and made a legendary NBA career?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it'd be crazy to put him in among the best of all time. I mean,
Yeah.
championships, Finals MVPs, got everything you need. I mean, he's put together a dream career. I mean, you can't draw anything better than that growing up. And I mean, it's kind of gone under the radar because he's like a low key dude. But I mean, if you just look at the stuff he's accomplished, it's crazy. So I have a lot of respect for him.
Yeah, he's it's weird because he's got the accolades and the championships, but he's also a what if because of the injuries and the times that he's missed. So it's a very, I think he's had one of the kind of weirdest careers in a good way with some of that what if. So yeah, interesting to think about it that way.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's what ifs, but I mean, at the end of the day, like if you touch a basketball, like 99.99 aren't gonna achieve the things he has. So I mean, he's got a
Right.
lot to be proud of.
Absolutely.
I'll see a lot of his jerseys around the games for sure. Um, but all right, yeah, thanks so much, Jeremiah. It was really a pleasure to get to know you. Like Andre said earlier, I'll be at a majority of the home games, so you'll be seeing a lot of me.
Mhm.
And yeah, it's coming up October 17th against UCLA, first exhibition, and then early November we have Long Beach State. So
Nope.
a lot of fun times ahead. I'm
Yeah.
really excited to watch you play this year.
Thank you. I'm looking forward to it.
We appreciate you taking the time, and we'll talk to you soon.
Cool. I appreciate you guys.
All right. All right, Chris, that was part two or interview two of our basketball series. Jeremiah Oden. He's a guy we're familiar with because he played at Wyoming. He's played against San Diego State. He's been gone for 2 years out of the Mountain West. He's back now for his final season. You know, he's a versatile guy. He talked about the things that he can bring to the game, bring to the team. Where do you think he fits in with this deep team that we've talked about, and why the coaching staff wanted to bring him in?
Yeah, he's going to be a role piece for sure. There might even like we talked about earlier. He could be a Jay Powell type of player where he finds his role early in the season and builds off that, and he will increase his minutes
Yeah,
throughout the season. I think he's going to be a force in rebounding and defensively. I really think that he's focused on improving on that part of his game, and he already talked about the conversations that he had with Dutcher and watching film. And
yes,
so I think he knows how important it is to be a strong defender. And I believe that he's going to really help with that. He has the size to be a great rebounder as well.
yeah,
The front court's deep. The back court is deep. So he won't be playing, any three more than likely. He'll probably just be playing a majority of the four. So it's unclear right now what his role is going to be right away, but I can tell you that when he is in the game, he is going to be a force on the defensive end, and he's going to be a rebounding threat. And he's not going to be anybody that's going to have a play called for him on offense, but he's going to get some points, through some putbacks and being at the
yeah,
right place at the right time. And his mindset and is where it wants to be, and he's already close with some of the players like him and Sean are already pretty
yeah.
close, and I think that's a big deal. Being the two newcomers, and he talked about Miles Bird's leadership, and so I think that I think Brian Dutcher landed a perfect role player for this type of team.
Yeah, I mean to be a champion, at least a conference champion, and then hopefully an NCAA champion, you need guys to do the dirty work. Um, Not everyone can be, you're not going to have 10 scorers out there playing every game. Um, so you need guys to be able to fill, not just fill roles, but to do the things that help winning. And we talked about AG, obviously. AG was a master at that, making the block, getting the rebound, the screen to open up a guy for a layup or for a open three-pointer, or that tipped pass or that deflected pass that ends leads to a transition layup, like little things like that. And I think Jeremiah will fit that role perfectly based on what we've seen of him. And that doesn't mean he can't score too. I mean, I think in one of the few of those seasons he averaged double-digit points, or at least close to it. And then some of the games against San Diego State, he scored a decent amount. So having that luxury of a guy like him, I think, is just another reason why Coach Dutcher has just done an amazing job recruiting, even in this NIL transfer portal world, where teams in the non-power fours or power fives are having difficulty finding guys to come help them win. So yeah, it's hard to not be impressed with the guys that he's brought in over the last couple of years.
Agreed. Yeah,
Yeah, I mean,
he's not going to be a stat sheet stuffer, but he will definitely be one of those scrappy players that helps the likes of Magoon find an open lane in the paint, or he'll free up Reese Waters for a wide open screen, or he's going to take away two defenders, um, to allow someone like Miles or even Taj, anybody just drive to the lane. So yeah, I'm super excited to see what his role is, and it's early in the season. It's gonna be hard to see what Dutcher does with the lineups.
yeah,
We don't know where we're gonna see Oden specifically. If he's gonna back up Guath, or is he gonna back up Guath, or is he gonna back up either Farrow or Miles Heidi? Um, but that's the beauty of it.
yeah.
The team has a lot of depth, and it's this is unclear what's going to happen right now, but I'm really excited for them.
Yeah, that rebounding question, I asked that because I remember Dutcher 2 years ago when their rebounding was not that good. And at a press conference, he was asked about how do you get better. He's like, "Well, we don't have natural rebounders like an AG." I remember him saying AG like a Dennis Rodman, right? Everyone knows that Dennis Rodman, it wasn't just effort. He just had a real knack and innate ability to know
Where
when
the
the
ball is
ball is up in the air, how it's going to bounce off the rim. Like he studied that stuff. And he just had the natural ability to know how the ball is going to bounce and to go there. And Dutcher, I think 2 years ago, was like, well, we don't have any of those guys. So we have to practice rebounding. We have to focus on it more because that's how we're going to get better, and they didn't really get better, and last year they struggled in that aspect too. So that's why I'm just interested in how you get better at it if you don't have those guys that are just really have that ability already to just know where the ball is going to be and where they're going to need to go get it. So we'll see. All the talent in the world, if you can't secure a rebound and go and a good defensive possession ends with a rebound, right? And
right.
so if you can't rebound it and you give up offensive rebounds, then your defense didn't do its job. So that's going to be key, as Coach Dutcher is going to talk about. I'm sure when he gets asked about, how's your team going to reach its potential, he's going to mention rebounding. I know he is.
Hey, he probably mentions it in his opening statement
Yeah.
every single week, whether it was good or bad. He'll bring it up and talk about where he thinks his team did well in that category and where they didn't. And yeah, it's definitely Dutcher's biggest emphasis for sure. And
Yeah.
yeah, in Mountain West basketball, in conference games, when every game is close, those New Mexico games on the road in the pit, and playing at Utah State, and playing at even Wyoming at Laramie, those you have to rebound. If you don't, you're going to let teams get second chance points, and that is a killer. And we saw that last year again. I'm trying to remember the game where they just could not get a rebound towards the end of the game, and it almost cost them. I believe it was at home against Wyoming when
Mhm.
they allowed like 8 straight points in like 6 seconds, to where their 14-point lead went down to a 6-point lead, and it's just so critical. Um, But this team definitely has the guys that are bought in to make sure that they are emphasizing that on every position.
Absolutely. We want to thank Jeremiah for joining us, obviously, as part of our basketball series. We've got more to come in the coming few weeks before the season starts, so definitely stay tuned for that. Appreciate you guys for joining in, and we'll talk to you next time. You are listening to the SDSU podcast, presented by the East Village Times, with your host, Andre Hagverdian.